I was honored to have been invited to visit one of the greatest Hamm's beer collections in the world. You are in for a real treat as we spend time with the legendary Stephen Miner and his Hamm's Paradise.
Hey people, let's go beer collecting. Hi guys, my name is Stephen Miner. I live in Winnebago, Minnesota. I've lived here all my life. I just recently retired from the automotive business after 50 years, and I've been collecting Hamm stuff for close to the same amount of time.
You're known as Dr. Hamm.
Yeah, Barry, my buddy Barry Travis gave me that nickname because I do the repairs on the signs, and he kind of hung that on me here a couple of years ago, and it's kind of stuck, and I don't have a problem with it, I guess, So yeah, they a lot of people, that's all they know me as, and that's okay too. I like to say, I enjoy repairing the signs. There's nothing better than to take a sign that's been found in an attic, that's beat up, that was the grandpa's whatever, and putting it back to original and seeing the looks on their faces. Mm-hmm. I mean, it makes me feel good to do that.
Now, how did you get started?
Well, I started collecting cans back in the early 70s. And just so happened Schmidt Scenic cans were on sale, so I bought a six-pack. So the next night I go back in the liquor store and I'm pawing through the six-packs, and the owner of the liquor store says, what are you doing? I said, well, these are all different. He said, well, there's like 18, 20, or 21 actually, different ones. I said, really? And of course they were the straight steel cans, very colorful. I was just intrigued. And so I started collecting cans. And I got to the point where I had probably 4,000 cans, and I ran out of room. I ended up collecting just Minnesota brewed cans, Hamm, Shells, Fitkers, Grain Belt. And being as I had all those other cans, I was able to amass a pretty good Minnesota collection. And so then I would go to these shows, and I wasn't able to get anything new. And I got kind of bored with it. And because I had everything. And I've always been a huge Twins fan, and I remember those commercials as a kid. My grandparents lived in St. Paul. And my mom and dad would bring me up there a couple weeks in the summer to get rid of me. And my grandpa was quite a beer drinker. His bar of choice was the Anchor Inn on Snelling Avenue, not too far from the state fairgrounds. And of course, back then kids could go in the bar, no big deal. And my grandma would say, well, go get Grandpa, it's time for supper. And they had a Cinerama there. They'd sit me up on that bar stool, and he says, if you watch long enough, a bear, I got goosebumps talking about, a bear sticks his head out of that tent. And of course, it never happened, but the impression that made on a 7-year-old. And of course, you look away, oh, you just missed him. And I bought it hook, line, and sinker. And I come home one night and I told my wife, I'm going to start collecting Hamm stuff. So I get on, I introduce myself, and I says, couldn't help but notice that ham stand you got hanging in the garage there. And I says, mind if I look at it? He says, yeah, come on in. Want a beer? And I, shit, yeah, you know. So I go in there and I, is that something you would sell? And he says, nah, I don't think so. That's a lot of memories there. And I said, well, I'll give you $400 for it. And he said, I'll go get a ladder. He says, it says from the land of sky blue waters. And I says, well, you want to sell it? And he says, well, that's why I'm calling you. I said, well, how much do you want for it? And he says, well, why don't you come down and look at it? So we went down there in the middle of a blizzard. The girls were screaming bloody murder, thinking we're going to die, whatever. So we get down there, laying in a pile of letters in the middle of the floor with so much nicotine on it, looked like it had been painted yellow with, you know, but it turned out really good.
Yeah, looks great.
Yeah. This is a Waldeck sign that Hamm's made in 1975 when Hubline owned the company. It came out with this Waldeck. It was kind of compete with Michelob and Andecker and Encore and all those brands. It was very similar in taste to Special Export.
So it had probably the same success as those other ones.
Well, it actually did. It actually did
Yeah.
pretty well. But Hubline was more or less a liquor company, and they had no business owning a brewery. But so they come out with all this stuff, and they were already on the downward slide.
Gotcha.
So this is the prototype of the Cinerama. They decided to go a different route with the logo. They went with a crest instead of the round. They made 250 of these, so they're fairly scarce. Of course, back when I started collecting, the brewery was still open, and I worked for Goodyear Tire Company at the time, and they always give you your birthday as a holiday. And my wife would say every year, well, what do you want to do with your birthday? I said, I'll go to the brewery. So I saved my money all year long. We'd go to the brewery, take the tour. I'd answer all the questions before they asked him, and I'm sure they wondered, who the hell's this guy, right? And we'd go up to Rascal, I'd have a couple beers, and then I'd go down to the gift shop, and I'd buy one of everything. Never had the presence of mind to say, hey, you got anything in the back room that you know, old... Of course, you don't think of that. You think the brewery's going to be there forever. And so I'd buy one of everything. Yeah, I've got to the point, as you can see here, I'm getting, when I bought this house, I thought, man, I'm going to have all kinds of room, but it's kind of, and the wife says, no beer stuff upstairs. And well, that didn't last too long. It's now it's in the garage, it's in the kitchen, it's in the dining room, it's in the living room. Nothing is in the bedroom yet, which, so I got that going for me, which is nice. But, yeah, I haven't reached that point yet where if I look at something, I don't have room for that, so I'm not going to buy it. I haven't got to that point yet, and I don't know if I ever will. I'm just intrigued with this stuff. I enjoy collecting it. Yeah, like I say, I get a new item now, and it's like me and Big Bird, we call it the beer sign shuffle. You make room for it. But yeah, it's to the point where my wife will even say, well, where are you going to put that? And well, it's like I'd love to have another Paul Stanley, but again, where would I put it? But if opportunity presented itself, I'd buy it. I would make room for it. I mean, I would move something, and so yeah, I have no plans on quitting. I mean, I'm enjoying the hobby just as much, if not more, now that I'm retired. I got more time to do it. The future of the hobby is bright. As far as I see more and more younger people and couples getting into it. I say Hamm's has kind of gotten a little resurgence because they reintroduced the brand, and I talked to the guy from Miller, and he said, hey, I'll be honest with you, we bought the brand to kill it off, but now it's kind of become, it's a low cost, decent tasting beer, and it's really kind of made a resurgence, whatever. So they're coming out with some new advertising and obviously a new audience appreciates it. And people ask me, well, why Hamms? I said, well, you got to collect beer stuff. What better brand? And land of sky blue waters. And how can you not smile when you see that dang bear? I mean, it just is so iconic. So then I say you discover these shows, and then I started finding these broken down signs, and obviously they've been in a rough environment. I had 24 hours a day, smoke and grease and everything else, and I thought, well, God, that'd be a great sign if you could make it work again. And I say, being in the automotive business, I've always had the knack of being able to repair things. So I started repairing this stuff, and people say, how'd you do that? I said, can you do one for us? And it's now in retirement, that's what I do. 7 days a week, I repair beer signs. Got my shop that I run with beer signs. I buy, sell, trade stuff out of there. And my wife is still working, so I got to have something to do. And it's a great retirement. I can't just sit around and watch TV. This is the Hamm It Up shop, beautiful downtown Winnebago. A little cluttered, but it's a nice color. People say, well, you're a hoarder. Well, it's not a hoarding if it's cool stuff. So yeah, like I say, I do my repairs here. I got a nice picture window there. People walk by and they can look in and see stuff. And a lot of times, if I'm here, I'll wave them in and they'll go, holy crap, where is all this stuff? And so yeah, I obviously got my workshop here. My inventory pretty much changes daily. I mean, I've had people call me and say, well, could you send me a list of all the stuff you have for sale? And the time I did, most of the, a lot of it would be gone. So,
And it's more than just Hamms that you deal in,
yeah,
too.
I do all beer. And if somebody's looking for a specific item, obviously I have a lot of connections. I'm happy to, hey, I know where that's at, or I can find one of them, or I know who's got one. And so yeah, if there's any specific item you're looking for, any brand, just give me a holler. I just enjoy it. It's really fun to see them, live again. And right now the hobby is hotter than it's ever been, and it's fun to see the new generation, so to speak, come into, and obviously Hamms is kind of almost a trendy type thing now, whatever, and it's great to kind of see a little resurgence in it, and coming out with some new stuff, the retro cans and everything. It's wonderful. I mean, it's great, and it's a great investment. I mean, the stuff I tell people, I'll sell you a sign today, a year from now you don't want it, bring it back, I'll give you your money back. Nobody's ever brought one back yet. So, but yeah, what a great hobby, great people, wonderful hobby, and I wouldn't trade it for nothing in the world. The people that I've met and the fun that I've had doing this.
What's next for you?
Well, obviously, I'm going to keep collecting until they, put me in the back of the long black Cadillac. But and I told people at my funeral, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give everybody a stun gun. Last person standing gets my stuff.
I forgot to ask the big question. So, do you in fact drink Hamms?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I have 3 favorite kinds of beer, actually: bottle, keg, or can. Free, cold, and open are also good. Yeah.